Hey guys out here. So this might be a boring video for some, but I think it's important. So something that I hear a lot, and I actually had a conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday in regards to soil fertility and putting things on his field, and is salt good or is salt bad? And there's a lot of people who go to market saying salt-free products or something along those lines. Um, but I think there's a little bit of confusion about salt. So most people, unless you're a chemist, think of salt as table salt, which is sodium chloride, as you see here in the bottom behind me. However, a salt, when used in terms of soil or in soil chemistry or in chemistry in general, there's a lot of salt chemistry that you could go into. And I'm not a chemist, but I want to at least give my comprehension of what this is. And it's basically a neutralizing compound between an acid and a base. You have a transfer of electrons that negate the positive and or negative charge of that particular formula, and it's done through an ionic bond. So you can read that here. I think I got everything right there. But what that is simply saying is that is what is defined, or how a salt is defined. So don't think of table salt and its impact on soil or microbial life, both either in a positive and or negative way. This particular gentleman I was speaking with was talking about electroconductivity and thinking, oh, salt's a good thing. Well, when they're talking about EC and its impact, or salt's impact on that within the soil profile, how that can have a positive correlation to microbial movement, they're talking about salts as in the term behind me, a chemical salt. So having those things balanced like calcium and magnesium. And I want to highlight what some of those might look like. So these are just a common couple salts that might be used in agriculture or gardening or on your lawn. And again, you would think, oh, if I'm putting table salt out there, that can't be good for the soil microbes. And I would advise is not to do that, or at least not very much if there was a reason or something that you would want to add something that had table salt in it. However, if you're trying to avoid all salt components, you might want to take a second guess, because again, the way salt is defined is different than most of the lay people, including myself, think of it, right? Naturally, we think of table salt. But on a chemical level, and the way in which it's used in agriculture, we want to make sure that we're talking about the right things. So things like calcium carbonate, that is a salt. Gypsum, Epsom salts, magnesium sulfate, potassium nitrate, and the list goes on. So if you're applying lime, you're applying salt in a way, or a salt, I should say. Salts are typically soluble as well. So I just want to make sure that there's a clear understanding here. And when you're looking at a fertilizer and somebody's saying it's salt-free, maybe they're saying it's table salt free, but it's not necessarily going to be salt-free. It might have things in there that are going to be beneficial, right? And you don't have to be necessarily scared of those things, as long as, like always, we're testing the soil and we're keeping things in balance. So that's how you define a salt. I hope that y'all found that useful. And if you have any questions, check us out at vitalizeseed.com. Please share, like, and subscribe.